Yo, what's up, peeps? I wanted to discuss a subject people really need to hear. You know, I got done watching a documentary on John Holmes, and I've always been fascinated by him. Not just because of his, not because of his cock, but because, it's an example of what happens when you're given the world and there's no one there around to pull you out of that. There's, you think being famous is fun. You think there's no problems whatsoever. Everything's going to be great. You're never going to have to suffer anymore. The world's at your feet. Life's a stage. Everything, all the things you can think of about how things are peachy keen and, all that stuff. But the reality of it is, it's not. Yes, you gain great things from it. You can meet some great people. You can achieve things that never in your wildest dreams did you think could ever happen. I'm not in the industry. I'd like to be. And I know one thing a person has to know is they need to do their research and watch documentaries, read books. In wrestling they have shoot interviews. Listen to that. They have podcasts, which is basically like a shoot interview, for people. So you need to listen to those. You really need to, if you're going to get into anything, you need to, learn what you're going to get into. That's not to say that you're not going to make mistakes and you're not going to be in the heat of the moment and do something you're going to regret. That's saying that you're prepared. And it's sad. It's good in this day and age we have YouTube, so we can watch a lot of these documentaries. We have podcasts now, and you can listen to a lot of podcasts for free. Some people will make you pay for them. It's sad that you have people that, there is like podcast one has, you can get the most recent episodes, but if you want to get the older ones, you have to have a paid membership, and that's okay, because they have to make money. But it's, there's that, and then there's the people that make you pay to listen to their actual podcast, and it's that end I don't like, because people really need, even if you don't want to get into it, to have a better appreciation, to have a better understanding, to know, hey, they're celebrities. What do they have to worry about? They're people, too, I mean, don't act like they're robots and like, we just do what we do. We're robots. Well, there's a lot of movies where robots have feelings, too. So if you even think that they're just robots, well, think back to that. There's the movie I, Robot that talks about that. You have my favorite movie of all time with a robot is Short Circuit. I love that movie. Johnny Five is like my favorite robot. The 80s had the best stuff. 90s had some good stuff, but it was declining. From the 80s, 70s, and 60s, that's the era I would have loved. I mean, I was born in the 80s, but to be in the 60s and 70s, 60s, people were starting to wake up. You had course, you had the sad times like JFK being assassinated, you know, but, you know, the sexual revolution, you had pot, you had, you know, people starting to wake up from everything that was going on, from the beaver cleaver, you know, the woman supposed to be, you know, in the house barefoot and pregnant, you know, and the man supposed to be at the workplace. Well, they were getting, you know, women, and being a woman, trust me, it's sickening to know that that's how you were treated. You know, it was nice to see that. It was nice to see people awake to stuff. And then, of course, the 70s was still going through that. And then, of course, you know, I'm not going to put down disco, because disco was like the pop of the 70s. But, you know, and then, you know, of course, you had, you know, a lot of, you know, you know, rock and roll's been around forever. Even from big band stuff, you know, the big orchestras. That's really the true origin of rock and roll. But you really saw the rise of rock and roll throughout the 70s, and then of course throughout the 80s, and you know, but also during that time, with people awakening, you had a lot of people that were unsure about who they were, who they wanted to be. It was like a new world. It was a rebirth, because people were starting to like, I can do this? You mean I could, you know, I didn't have to, you know, sleep in a separate bed than the person I'm in love with, or, you know, I could, you know, smoke pot, or I could be a woman and I can actually go out and work, you know. I could, you know, I could do all these things. You know, I can say, you know what, I don't have to trust my government. I don't have to kiss anyone's ass. I could be myself, you know. So it was nice to see that. It was nice to, you know, it was nice to have that. But then there's the confusion about, what do I really want to do? You know, it was a good time, but of course, along with that, you had some people that the awakening, sometimes when you awaken from things, if you're not monitored, I don't want to say it like that, if you're not guided properly, then a lot of bad things can happen. And sadly, for a lot of people, bad things did happen. And especially when you were a celebrity, I mean, even before that, when you were a celebrity, things were given to you. It's like, during the silent film era, man, oh man, because you weren't required to talk. You just had to do emotions, and, you know, and then it's like, you know, you can do that, and like, okay, well done, you know. You didn't have to really think about what you were saying. Yeah, you had to think about your actions. You had to think about how you would look, how your face would look, you know, how your body would look, in the sense to where, like, you know, if you were in shock, lifting your arms, oh, I'm in shock. Or, you know, you had to worry, you know, your movements, but even with movements, it wasn't as hard as it was to remember lines. So people could party all they wanted, and sadly, a lot of tragedies happened back then. But we have stuff now that we can watch, that we can learn from. And some things have gotten better, but there are also some things that haven't. And sadly, a lot of people still haven't stepped up and stopped celebrities from, you know, spiraling out of control and getting involved in bad things to where it would ruin their career. And, you know, people really need to wake up to that. They really need to, you know, it'd be nice if a lot of veterans stood up and said, you know what, we're sick and tired of seeing our friends die. We're sick and tired of seeing our friends suffer. We're sick and tired of suffering through all this. We need to stand up, and we need to take back our industry. We need to take it from the destructive people that want to hurt people, that are hurting people, that are killing people. Because there are a lot of good people that get involved in every field, but you have people that are like, you're a celebrity, I'll give you anything you want. Drugs, you're in pain, here, take these pain pills, take these sleeping pills. Uppers and downers, you need women, you need men, you need both. I'll give them to you, I mean, they'll even offer to slit your wrist if you wanted to do that. They'll give you that. And I'm not going to say it's easy for vets, because when you've been in the business, the trauma from that, it's hard to get over. So easily getting up and saying, you know what, I'm not going to do something, or I'm easily getting up and saying, I'm not going to let this happen anymore. That's the it's not that easy. And it's good to see young people, say, you know what, I don't want to get involved in that. I don't want to get involved in all this bad stuff. But, it's really important to do your research, to really understand what can happen to a person if they're not fully awake and aware of their surroundings. And, there are some vets out there that are willing to help you, that will make sure you don't get involved in anything bad. They'll keep you away from people that can get you involved in bad stuff. There are vets out there that are like that. So you really want to find those vets and gravitate towards them, and like, I don't want to say this in a bad way, but almost become, like, I'll put it this way: there are good leeches and bad leeches. Okay, bad leeches, horrible. Get away from them. But the good ones that kind of take the bad blood from you, and think of it that way. I think I tried to use that in a tweet about something. Yeah, it's about I had throughout going through a lot of my suffering about all this guy stuff, and the one person that was always a hanger-on, the first name started with a J, and it's being screwed on a meat hook, and it's like saying that it's like a leech, having something cling on to you, but not in a good way. Well, put it, you can have the good ones and the bad ones, where, people, I think, Demi Moore, had a therapy like that, and, it's good, where they take the bad blood from you, or they take all the toxins from you, something like that. You need to become someone like that, and find somebody who's like, trust me, you can stick to me like glue. You can stick to me like a hammer, like a nail in a piece of wood, or a screw, in something, and put that, put the nuts and bolts in tight, and, you can do that. You need to find those people. You need to gravitate towards those people, hold on for dear life. And I don't want to say that in a bad way. I want to say that like, hey, say, teach me, tell me everything that I need to be aware of, but help me as well. Those are the people you really need to gravitate towards.